You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, I don't know if this affects Shannon Sharpe, at least the perception in court of Shannon Sharpe's accuser, but it looks really freaking strange. It looks very strange that the accuser, the plaintiff's lawyers, decided to no-show this hearing against Shannon Sharpe. There were supposed to be some motions filed. Hell, the lawyers didn't show up. And some people are speculating, well, could there be a possible settlement on the horizon? But this is pretty wild. The civil lawsuit against Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharpe went to court for the first time this week. Per KLAS-TV via awfulannouncing.com, the attorney representing the plaintiff didn't show up. What? As noted earlier in the week, the hearing was scheduled in connection to 3 different motions to associate counsel. And I came over here. The electronic database for Clark County, Nevada civil court system shows various filings regarding the lawyers who will be associated with the case. A hearing on 3 different motions to associate counsel is set for July 9th. The hearing originally had been set for June 30th. Well, they didn't bother to make it. Per the report, Judge Anna Albertson expressed, quote, disappointment that the plaintiff was not represented for the hearing. So the accuser showed up and the lawyers didn't? Wow, that's wild. The complaint identifies 2 lawyers representing the plaintiff. Tony Busby of Deshaun Watson fame. That was the lawyer that a lot of the accusers used for Deshaun Watson. And Micah Nash. Given the information in the court records, the hearing did not involve anything critical to the case. Still, if the judge expects the lawyers to be there, it's probably a good idea to be there. The next hearing is set for September 3rd. Sharpe, as of our last posting, has yet to respond to the $50 million complaint. His primary options are filing a motion to dismiss or answering the allegations 1 paragraph at a time. When Sharpe answers the complaint, he also can file a counterclaim against the plaintiff. His lawyers had said Sharpe plans to do so, so he plans on countersuing. I don't blame him. If he's innocent, I would sue the shit out of him. Robert Draskovich, a criminal attorney in Nevada who is not a representative on this case, called the move to not appear, quote, strange and not in the accuser's best interest. Quote, whether to set up a settlement conference or to set up hearings for litigations, you'd expect all parties to be present. I can't see a tactical advantage to be gained by failing to appear. It's weird. That's really strange. For Sharpe's team, one representative, Antonio Robert DeMarco, appeared in court on his behalf. DeMarco said the other attorneys on the case were busy handling other cases out of state at the moment. Shannon Sharpe's legal team is mainly composed of lawyers from New York. Drakovich shared the perspective that it is not the best move to have legal representation from out of state, since the civil lawsuit was filed in Clark County. Generally, it's best to have homegrown counsel. Explaining to 8 News Now, explaining there are intricacies in our system that a Nevada-based lawyer would understand best. If you have a matter pending in Nevada, it's best to have Nevada counsel. Interesting. Sharpe's team asked Judge Albertson to review the progress of the case at a later date and extend to 45 days. The judge expressed surprise that Sharpe's team did not want to settle sooner, but granted their request. Goes on to talk about September 3rd again. So that is really strange. Real strange. Less than a week after the case was filed, Shannon Sharpe stepped away from his employment at ESPN until the start of the NFL preseason. Well, so Shannon's going to be back soon, I guess on First Take. He's been out. You saw what that says, NFL preseason. Well, the Hall of Fame game's at the end of the month. And then, of course, training camp for everybody starts. And then I think the first preseason game is roughly 10 days past that, I think. Something like that. There's 3 games now instead of 4. So he's going to be back. I would assume he'll come back to ESPN First Take and be doing the whole FU Stephen A. and Stephen A. doing all the FU this and this. I'm kidding, obviously. I don't watch it anymore. It will never be as good as Stephen A. against Skip Bayless ever again. So, and I didn't watch Undisputed either when they were all together. I tried to watch it, and I was done pretty quick. That's gotten the best of me, those debate shows. This is odd, and this is interesting. Now, you have to wonder, I believe Shannon Sharpe, if I'm not going crazy, may have put out there a $10 million settlement offer. Let me go look. I saw that somewhere in here. I could have swore I saw it. Right here. The days preceding the draft were dominated by news of a sexual assault lawsuit that had been filed against Shannon Sharpe. An ill-advised PR blitz, which included his lawyer, Lanny Davis, that Sharpe had offered at least $10 million to settle the case, fueled the coverage. So, yeah, evidently, Shannon offered $10 million to settle this. But would they allow the plaintiff, the accuser, to just show up by themselves? You know, the one thing, the only real thing that Deshaun Watson ever had on his side was the reputation of the attorney, Busby, out of Houston, if I remember correctly, in those accusers' cases. A lot of people were like, yeah, he's a known scumbag in Houston. All right? That I don't know anything about. All I knew is once you got past a certain amount of accusers, I'm not believing you anymore. If Watson had been accused by 2 or 3 people, I might have erred on the side of Watson, to be honest, as a money ploy. And then when we got to like 26 or 27, I was like, nah. No, I think it was 24 was the magic number, because all of a sudden 24 came in and I was like, no, there's too much smoke here. There's obvious fire for Watson. I don't know what to believe necessarily with Shannon Sharpe, to be honest. Do I think this is going to like end his ESPN career? No, it's a civil lawsuit. Unless ESPN decides there's too much heat in the kitchen and they got to get him out. I think that's what this hiatus for him was anyway. Hey, let's let the fire from this calm down, and then when NFL season gets here, everybody will be looking at the shiny object known as the National Football League and not at Shannon Sharpe. They'll just hear Shannon blabbing on about it. I know he's still doing his YouTube podcast thing, which is pretty damn big. Tell me what you think. They said, fuck it, we're not showing up. Wow. Peace, I'm out. Till next time. Before we jump in, make sure you go to our merch store, our Make Basketball Great Again shirt, and our newest shirt that just came out. Both shirts are brand new. The American Flag Skull Fever Enforcer shirt. And use promo code CC22 for 20% off.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.